Yo, what's going on, guys? Anything happened today with our beloved AMC stock? Look at this. I'm just going to leave the video run here with this shitty Yahoo chart, and we can just stare at this right here. Sums up a lot about what's been going on here the last 10 months, right? I don't understand it. You know, I hate doing videos where I talk about the same thing or hammer something that's already been talked about. I try to find things that, little weird things and funny things, whatever. Like, you guys know what I do. But this needs to be talked about again. I mean, I don't understand. We've known for months and months and months. 4.1 million AMC shareholders that own 80% of the company. That's been out there for a long, long time, right? And it's probably more like 90, 95%, whatever you want to call it. Let's just call it 80% of the company and millions upon millions of AMC shareholders. Now, these guys know the amount of DD that's out there. Let's just take Citadel alone. We have uncovered, all of us, the whole entire ape community have uncovered everything about Citadel, from planes flying around the world and everything in between. These guys have to know, okay? Now, we know the plan. We've kind of known it since last week, and we know what happens after earnings, but the bottom line is they let this thing run up 45, 46, 47 bucks, right? Earnings come out and they're outstanding, and then the stock just gets shorted to shit. Who are they trying to fool? There's no one. You're not fooling anyone. It's crazy to me. Now, I'm not mad. I don't care. All it is another buying opportunity for all of us savages out there. But it's insane to me. It really honestly is insane. I mean, look at this thing today. It's just hammered. This reminds me of 2, 3, 4 months ago when we would run pre-market and then just shorted all day long after a badass earnings. It's crazy. So, yeah, we know what the hell's going on there. So let's get into some good news. Not that this is bad news. Hey, we dip, we just buy more. We run, we run. It's great either way. But it's beyond comical at this point. Right? Jesus Christ. Oh yeah, a little bit too. I want to give a shout out to Roensch. This guy's awesome. It's good to see his face on there. Most of you guys, I'm sure, follow him. Very well spoken, sharp as a tack. But he broke down all the quarterly stuff today. Give his video a watch. I'll share it in there, a link. But he broke down the last 4 quarters as far as what the stock did, a little bit before the earnings, after, and then the following month. So absolutely great breakdown by him there. Part of this whole shit show. The earnings, and then the obviously what happened at 2 o'clock yesterday until the close of bell today, right? So shout out to Roensch. Awesome. Glad to see your face on there, sir, if you're listening, which I doubt you are. But anyway, it's an awesome channel, to say the least, right? We'll just call it 70%. Pull of darkness. So sick of pulling this thing up. I say it every day. It's the same thing. I just want to write it down on like a sticky note on the side here, and we'll just call it 70%. From now on. I'm going to start doing that. Screw it. We got more 13Fs piling in here today, for Christ's sakes. Look at this here in the number 3 hole. BlackRock. Remember, these are the last 45 days activity here. So, but still, popping in 11.9. We got everything from here up. We do have some smaller, what was it up here? Teacher retirement of Texas. That's good to see. Remember, we had a lot of those retirements monies coming in there. Barclays, BlackRock, hopefully they're not lending these shares out, sirs, folks, and a bunch of others. And you got more on the 8th in there, the 5th. It just keeps getting better. People are bullish as all heck. And let's check our little my favorite thing on the way out the door. The bottom line, all you need to see here is there's 546 total institutional owners, and only 40 of them are short, right? That's all you need to see. Pretty much common sense, right? Shout out to Payne and all these guys over here. Outstanding. This was, 16, 17 minutes long. I want to touch on one piece on here. We had a very popular Twitter guy in here that touched on, asked a question here. We're going to play this and break this part of it down. But this was great. And then we also got Charles Payne said he's holding AMC and GME today, too, in a little tweet. So, outstanding. How good is Payne, right? You got Matt, Trey in there, some Twitter people, just outstanding. The old SEC gal was in here talking, but If you guys have not seen this, I'll pop this in there. I'm sure most of you have, but it's absolutely great. Let's take a quick listen, break this son of a gun down.
Pete, what's your question?
What's up, guys? So the question is, should we have faith in the SEC and government to protect the retail investor? Who stands up for investors when something like the removal of the buy button happens? Who do we turn to for answers? And who can be held accountable? Who's the adult in the room?
It's a fantastic question. We just had Lisa, who was a former, big-time insider at the SEC, suggesting that maybe they think they're doing the right thing, but certainly looking the other way has been a real problem. This fiasco in January was such an embarrassment. Again, Gary Gensler is saying the right things, but Trey, do you think he's going to follow through?
I like to look at action instead of lip service, right? So we saw the EU is starting to regulate payment for order flow as an example, trying to protect retail investors and their best interest being in mind. There's this talk that goes on and on and on, and there's just nothing that happens with the SEC. And particularly, you get people on the media who try and act like it's a good thing that payment for order flow exists. So what I want to see is not necessarily the talk, but the action that will follow that. Right. That's what I'm waiting for, because they can say a million things until it happens.
Well, I know a lot of folks are still really upset with Robinhood. I mean, if you look at the volume and the way it built up to that day, it was pretty clear that anyone there who worked there should have known they would need capital. And my theory was that they were going to go do an IPO real soon. They didn't want to dilute the float at all. They didn't want to change anything with the financials. So they rolled the dice, and they found themselves in a predicament. Any faith the SEC will do the right thing ultimately?
Maybe I'm being a little bit naive. I hope so. But what we know of the GameStop report on their, take of what happened in January, how is that even considered a best effort or even a reasonable effort? It was obviously highly neutered. They came out and they're like, you know what? We have a little bit of data here, not a short squeeze, not a gamma squeeze, don't worry about it. And it's like, to me, that's even more telling, because you're saying it was completely driven by retail. No one was covering it, wasn't gamma, and you took the buy button. So you're admitting it was going to go way higher. Yeah. They said it right there, and it's frustrating. I hope something's going on in the background, because you have.
We get the picture there. Every time, you guys know how much just my blood boils talking about this buy button. It's so badass that Charles Payne, I don't know how, he gets away with it. I don't want to say gets away with it, right? But to be this on the side of the retail investor is crazy. He always has been. He's got books, he's got everything else he's got going, but it's pretty badass that this can be out in a public, the mainstream media, right? But that buy button thing, every time I seriously think about it, I don't get mad. You guys know me, but every time that a hint of that comes up or I think about it, I just want to explode. I do. I swear I do. I'm the calmest person, but that just absolutely destroys me. So Pete, the guy that asked the question, he's over here on Twitter. Real popular dude on there. Great for the community. Everybody loves him. Super cool dude. I've heard him on the space calls and all that stuff too. So give him a follow on the old Twitter mobile. So yeah, we'll pop that in. That was absolutely outstanding, to say the least. Americans have never been in so much debt. It's kind of on the back burner. The Evergrande thing's still there, and this whole economy thing and all that stuff. But this is a big deal. We're not going to hear the mainstream media, go out and say how much trouble we're in. Obviously, we know that. We've known that. But some of these numbers, we'll just touch on a couple things. But you guys, if you haven't read this, read it. There's a couple of statistics in here and numbers. But anyway, American households are carrying record amount of debt as home and auto prices surge. We know that. COVID infections continue to fall, blah, blah, blah. Between July and September, U.S. household debt climbed to a new record of $15.24 trillion. It was announced an increase of 1.9%, or $286 billion from the second quarter of the year. As the pandemic reliefs wind down, we are beginning to see the reversal on some of the credit card balance trends. Now, the stimulus sugar rush has worn off. Consumers are going back to their old ways and spending with credit cards. Credit balances rose by $17 billion just there, urging the second quarter. Mortgages, the second largest, rose by $230 billion last quarter, and total $10.67 trillion. Auto loans, student loans also increased, right? So bound up. The economy, the market, everything is, we know. We're obviously going to see more of this in the future, but we got to keep our eyeballs on this. Doesn't exactly relate to GME AMC, but we know if Marge comes a calling and everything goes busto, we go El Boomo. I don't think it's going to make it this far. As far as the squeeze scenario happens, I think we're probably within, I don't want to call any dates or anything, but I say probably roughly January, February, in my opinion. I don't know anything. I'm not saying it. Don't put me on record. Still, this cannot go on and on and on. Yeah, speaking of not going on and on and on, these a lot of these guys, remember the letter, the cease and desist letter that was sent out by Kenny and his clowns over there to all these billboard companies, all the stuff that Kat was putting together. Right here, she says that the company she's working with basically doesn't give a rat's ass about Ken Griffin or his lawyers. So they're going to have 4 mobile billboards strategically planted for 8 hours for the Macy's Day Parade. Remember, she just raised, I forgot to look, at least $7,500. Plus Mr. Mark over there, our new ape, is donating another 5 racks on top of that. So all sorts of money. She's a hard-working gal over there putting all this stuff together. It's not going to stop Kenny. Okay, we don't give a rat's ass about lawyers and your bullshit. Okay, so just stop, sir. Just stop. Oh, on the way out the door, the Fed thinks meme stocks threaten the financial structure. Remember this old turd we touched on last night? Remember this. Now, remember who is saying this. The Fed. The Fed. So you go over to here to old Daddy on the Twitter. Outstanding. He puts together a lot of cool crap over here. This is all you need to read right here. This is all we need to see to know that this media and every article is complete and utter nonsense. The U.S. stock market is valued at $26.2 trillion. AMC and GME make up for 0.00152 blah 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 percent of that. So literally nothing. Just how stupid is this? Even if you take the other, okay, take BBBY and Sundials and all your other, okay, still, you get the point. Stop, man. You're not fooling us here. You're most certainly not fooling us here with this shit show today. Jesus Christ, you guys. It's just comical. You know, again, the full-on Zen mode, at peace, the conviction of the play. You know, I took a monster swing between where we were yesterday. I have a lot of contracts, and I have some GME too. The swing was insanity. The type of money I don't have. I don't give 2 shits. Sure, they're calls. They're for February, right? That doesn't really mean much right now. It's still, to take a swing like I did today, and this by no means, you guys, is me bragging about my position. Even the swing that all of us took, whether you bought in at the top at $50, $60, $70 plus, or whatever the case is, and you did not sell, or your average is $7 and you're still holding, we have all taken monster swings. And you know why we don't give a rat's ass? Most of us out there don't have this type of money to hold. Or I mean, you know, to risk. It's the conviction. It's the conviction, it's the DD, it's the 10 months of holding, or however long you've been holding. That's what it is. All of us see these swings. I seen, Review Dork on Twitter posted his losses for the day, right? And a bunch of people below that were screenshotting their swings for today. Nobody gives a rat's ass. And I can guarantee, I'm speaking for myself here, but I know I'm speaking for a lot of people that these swings mean 0. And that says a lot, because that's a lot of money. I don't have this kind of money, these swings that I'm taking. I don't have this kind of money to put this much money into this stock. I would like to go out and I want to buy a new car. I want to buy my 76 Trans Am that I've wanted since the last one I sold when I was 22 years old. But right now, I can take those swings where I can go either buy 2 of those Trans Ams yesterday, or I can continue to hold this stock and take these swings. So, again, back to this shit show here, short hedge funds. You're not fooling anybody, man. You guys have to cover these positions, And I don't give a shit if it's tomorrow, 3 months, or a year from now, but I will take these shares to my grave and not buy the Trans Am. I don't give a shit. And I know most of you are like that as well. So, yeah, we know, guys. We know. Okay, let's see what the hell happens tomorrow, right? Another 11% up, down, or another 11% up? Either way, it doesn't matter. Who gives a shit? They haven't covered a damn thing. All right, guys, love you. Sorry for the ramble there, but needed to be said, I believe.